Okay, everyone, it's 3 o'clock, top of the hour. I want to welcome you to our next presentation given by Adam Dastrap. I'll introduce Adam in a second. Uh, but first, I wanted to bring your attention to the chat window where we have the schedule for the day as well as the Geotech website location. So if you need reference for anything, you can certainly go there, and we will be posting all these presentations to the website as well. In case you need to go back and refer to them. And now I want to introduce our presenter. It is Adam Dastrap. He is the coordinator of the Geosciences Department and an associate professor at Salt Lake Community College. While there, he has taught a variety of physical and cultural geography and earth and environmental science, as well as geospatial technology courses. He's also the founder of Open Geography Education, an open education resource for educators at Salt Lake Community College. Adam is a faculty leader in high impact practices, online learning, and educational pathways for students. Now I'll turn it over to Adam. Adam?
Those are all lies, Rodney. Those are all lies you said about me.
I'm a good liar.
All right, everyone. So yeah, my name's Adam. I'm here in Salt Lake City, Utah, and I get the honor to do a very fast version of how to make a dashboard with a focus on COVID. Obviously, there's the John Hopkins dashboard already. There's other dashboards out there, but it's kind of fun to be able to do this kind of stuff with your students, or to have, because then they feel like they've now generated this live map that I'll show you how it'll get updated every 60 minutes. And so yeah, we'll just kind of do a quick and dirty version of this. I'm going to quickly give you a couple links into the chat box. Link 1. And link 2. These are just kind of, rather than reinventing the wheel, there's already some pretty good resources from ESRI related to making these dashboards. So that's just what I'm sending you in the chat box real quick. So you can either follow along or you can get them and download them. And so. Probably should have done this right before the whole thing started. Okay, last one. Okay, so hopefully you see those. You don't need to be looking at those for this little presentation, but now you have those as resources that you can use for yourself or for your students. And so, all right, so we're going to make a COVID dashboard. Let me share what I've got. All right, is everybody seeing a map right now?
We see it, Adam.
Awesome. Okay. So, before you make a dashboard, the first thing you have to do is you have to have maps. Show you how to make a map in ArcGIS Online for this presentation, but the handouts I did give you does allow you to go through the steps of how you would make a map similar to this. And so this has here, I just pulled up a whole bunch of, so now I have death rates. I turn that one off. Total cases. I'm here, like I said, I'm here in Utah, and we're having our own explosion of COVID cases. We had 5,000 COVID cases last Saturday. And I thought, and we always get our updates around 1:30. So probably during this presentation, I'll find out, how bad Utah's COVID is today. So, all right. So once you have your maps, once you got your things here, there's a few things you're going to want to do on the ArcGIS Online side of the map before you start making your dashboard. For example, you would want to make sure that all your COVID data refreshes at a certain time. And so I've always set it around every 60 minutes. So obviously, so if you click on one of the circles, the data you're seeing has been updated every 60 minutes. So otherwise, if you don't do the interval thing, it's only going to time capture the day you pulled the data, but not moving forward and making a live kind of a map. So you're going to want to do that. And you're also going to want to configure your pop-ups. And so again, the handouts show you how to do this, but for each of your layers, you'd want to go into configure your attributes, and you'd want to select what you want to pop up, right, when you click on one of the features in the map. So you just kind of go through, and you probably want to be consistent on making sure all the layers are showing the same pop-ups. Okay, so you do all that kind of stuff, and then of course you make sure you save your map. And so there you go. So you have to first take the time to really create the maps you want, so that you can then import that stuff into your dashboard. So the next thing, once you have your map done, you're going to then go to delete some of these. Okay, so now you got to go to your dashboard. So you log back into your ArcGIS Online organization account, and you're going to go over to these dots over here, and you're going to click on that, and you're going to choose your dashboard and or whatever you want to do, but obviously for today, the dashboard. So you click on the dashboard, and you're going to see here, I have no dashboards because I deleted the COVID one intentionally so I could walk through it all cleanly again. So this is basically how you go about creating a dashboard. First thing you do is you create a dashboard. Okay, and so then you got to name it. So because the data I have focuses on the United States and not the world, you may want to, mine's going to say something like COVID-19 USA. USA, I don't know, whatever. And then I'm going to have COVID as a tag. I'll do 2 more, COVID-19 and maybe pandemic, right? So you got all that stuff, and you create your dashboard. Okay, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to click on this little button here, and you just basically get to decide if you want to have it in dark mode, like that's what the John Hopkins maps look like. They're more in that dark mode, or you could choose light, but we'll do dark. Okay, so now we have it in dark mode, and now we just go about starting to make this map. So the first thing we do is you click on this plus button, and you're going to go and you're going to select map. And it's going to pull up all the maps I have in my organization account. So you have to make sure you select the correct one. So this is the one I was most recently playing with, and I've shown you. But we select that. And then we'll just play around with the little things, some action things. We want the scale to be aligned. Say we want to make sure the legend shows up. We want people to be able to search on it. We want people to zoom in and out. So all that kind of stuff, you want to have there, and you just hit the done button. And boom, here's your map. Okay. And so, just trying to think. Okay. And then the next thing, always remember, is you're going to want to save your map, right? Just always hit that save button. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to add some stuff. I'm going to actually do something real quick. Hold on one second. I deeply apologize for that. It's very distracting when your cat is running all around the house in hyper mode. I'm trying to do this, so I had to get rid of the cat. All right, so now we're going to add some more stuff to the dashboard. We're going to add the plus button, and then we're going to go to lists. And we can choose what we want to choose here. So let's go for total cases. Okay. So we have total cases, maximum feature displays. I'm going to put up pretty high because we're looking at, if you're looking at Alabama alone, right? You're not just, if I put 50 here, I'm going to get 50 that will show up. But Alabama alone has all these counties, right? So we're looking at a lot more than just states. We're looking, we want this column to show the all the counties as well. So I'm going to put that something much higher. I don't know. I'm just going to say. I'm just going to say 5,000. Why not? Okay. We're going to choose. Oh, come on. Come on, Firefox. Don't do this to me. Oh my God, seriously. This is how we do this. Firefox has been giving me issues today. So I'm going to switch to Chrome. Oh, sorry, Safari. All right. I will say, since teaching now, we use Zoom. I've gotten pretty used to dealing with technical errors in Zoom. So, all right. So now we go back. We go back to that dashboard. The one I just created. All right. So we're back to where we start. So we're going to go now to okay. Back to the list. Total cases. 5,000. Why does it keep freezing? Is it that number it doesn't like? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, this is good times, having a little crash and burn where it freezes up on you.
While we're waiting to see if the internet will release Adam from its stranglehold, let me ask a couple of questions. How many, and you can just answer in the chat window, are currently using some form of dashboards as of today? If you're using or have used a dashboard, if you just indicate that, that would be helpful. While we're waiting, maybe we have a conversation about what you found out, what you've experienced, what you like or don't like, etc.
Yeah, throw that in there. Yeah, and I can move forward now. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip that one step because it might be a dashboard thing that's freezing up, not the fact that it froze up on Firefox and Safari. Might be something with that. So I'm going to just kind of move. So I'm just going to move forward from that, but definitely do what you said about the comments in the chat box. So another thing, we can add a list. Actually, I gotta make sure. Where am I skipping? All right, we'll do this instead. Okay, so we're gonna add indicators now. So we're gonna go in here, and we're gonna choose total indicator. Okay, so
Adam, show us your screen. Share your screen.
All right, there you go. So what we're going to do is we're creating an indicator. So we're going to do a count of, we're going to look at the sum of all the confirmed COVID cases in the United States. So that's as, this is the most recent number regarding that. And then we'll go here into the general, and then you can edit and you can put in a title such as like confirmed cases. We'll go bold, we'll center it, and we'll make it like 1. Okay. So then, so there's that. And then we'll add another one now just to have the indicator. We'll do deaths. And we will look at the sum, and the field we'll use would be deaths. And so that's the current death toll of COVID in the United States. And again, then we will add a title to that. We'll just say deaths, and then we'll just mess around with that and hit done. So now you got these two things, but this is, now it's looking like, well, that's kind of ugly looking. So what you have to do is you have to then go to the corner. You'll see a little blue thing show up, and it gives you an ability to do stuff with it. So for example, when I go over confirmed, I can hit the drag button, and I can just drag it, and it's going to be familiar to like, you know, like Arc Pro, where those things come up on sides, and I can choose where I want to dock it, so to speak. And so let's say I'll put confirmed cases below, and now it will look like that. And then I can also then just drag that column so it doesn't take it, because, you know, obviously the real estate we want should be the map itself, right? And we'll hit save on that. So there's other things you can do. We could add, for example, a chart. And so we're going to click on total. The field is in the fields here. We will use confirmed. And in the second field, we will look at deaths. So now we have this. It doesn't really show so well because the way this is showing up. I've been playing around with this, the confirmed versus the death in the United States. It just visually, it's just, you know, I guess there's just so many people that have it, and so versus, you know, the deaths, even though the deaths are quite high. So then what we'll do here is we will click sum, and then we'll go over to the general, and we'll create a title for that. We'll call that total USA cases, something to that effect. And just do what I did before, like bold, center it, make it a headline like that. So now it shows up nice like that. Okay. Then we can go to series right here, and we can change the colors of this. So maybe by category, let's say we want to make the red, we'll make it death red. Just if we wanted to try to make the, you know, visual difference between the two. You hit done. And then of course that you would want to move that somewhere. So I take the drag again. I'm going to move that to the, maybe the right. We'll take it all the way to the right. So, and then I can shrink that down a bit. Something to that effect. I think you get the point. I thought would work. So the other things we're going to play around with now is we're going to filter the map extent. Okay, so we're going to click on, we're going to go right up here again and click on configure for the map. So each one of these are going to have their own configure panels. but we're going to just focus on the map. We're going to configure the map a little bit. We're going to do map actions, and then we're going to add a target, and we're just going to add these to it. So that all we did was we were just configuring the map a little bit. And then, then you get into the other stuff like a header you can put in. So we can call it, I don't know, COVID-19 pandemic. Something to that effect. Okay, and we can choose how big we want that title or not, medium or large. And you can hit done. You could filter, do you want it in the center? There's also, just kind of like that simple stuff you would do with Word. And you would just hit done on that, and of course save. And then really, there you go. So now we basically have a map. If you didn't like where something was, let's say you didn't like the cases there, maybe you wanted the bottom, you can kind of try to design out the map how you want it. Come on. Just kind of depends, right? However you really wanted to play around with the design of your dashboard. And you can just keep going. You can just keep adding, depending on the data that you have available to you, you can just keep adding more columns. We could try again. I don't want to on this session because I want it to freeze up on me again. But on the John Hopkins dashboard, what I was trying to do there is you can create a list, and it would it would create its own panel, and it would be a list of all the cases, and you can sort it by alphabet. You can sort it by most cases, and most cases, highest cases at the county level at the top, or most highest death rates by county at the top, right? You can filter how you want that to look. So anyway, but I don't dare do that because I'm afraid it'll freeze up on me. So anyway, that's like a quick and dirty version of doing a dashboard. I'm just because that little weird technical problem we had, I'm a little hesitant to add more in case it wants to crash on me again. But does anyone have any questions so far?
Adam, do you want to open it up for discussion or chat window?
Discussion works.
Okay, I'll unmute everyone so they can. Everyone, if you'll, I've given you the opportunity now to unmute yourself if you have a question for Adam.
I noticed the numbers changed to a lower amount.
Which numbers are we talking about?
The confirmed cases and the death cases.
They went lower when I did something, when I configured the map, or when?
Yeah, it started out with 11,416,633, and then your final product ended up less.
It's because see how it changes now. What it's showing you is the extent. So when I was messing around with the configure and map actions, I was saying, show me these indicators. So one's the death and one's the confirmed total cases and stuff. But it was based off your level of scale. So that could be a positive or a negative, right? Because I could.
No, it was the total U.S. count.
I guess I'm trying to figure out. I know these numbers are changing because I'm of the total, the extent. Like right now, I'm showing.
No, I'm saying total U.S. You keep drilling down, and you need to drill out.
Right. So if I go all the way out, I should get the whole U.S.
Right.
Right. But
And
right,
that number has changed since the first numbers that you showed.
it might be an update thing.
Well, Adam, it could be, and I don't know this, but it could be if you zoomed where you're showing the continental U.S. or whatever, and a slight variation in being zoomed out to the U.S. could have tweaked the numbers a little bit because you may have missed just something, say in Maine or Florida or Alaska or Hawaii because you're zoomed in or zoomed out. It looks like we see the whole U.S., but we may be missing a couple of population areas.
It's possible. I mean, the data here is coming from the John Hopkins stuff. I mean, I guess if I went back to this and then let's say on the map actions, I actually removed all those. Then that number shouldn't change now.
It did change. Yeah, see, now you've got more.
It was the way it was filtering that extent, the map. It has something to do with the way the dashboard is using the map actions to when I'm focusing on these indicators when I zoom in or not. So I'd have to look into that more. But now the numbers won't change no matter where I'm at. Well, they will change. They will update every 60 minutes, of course. But
Other questions for Adam?
I mean, you could always confirm it. You could always go back to the map itself, right? The original map, and you could do a sum of the data, there. If you wanted to see if is it the dashboard that's doing something. I won't do the summary
showing
now,
a territory that we're counting in the stats. And when he zooms out to shows the continental U.S. and Alaska and Hawaii and all that, it may not be showing like a random territory that's not being shown in the zoom extent. And that's why it's not getting all the cases fully.
Well, it's got the new numbers there now.
Because these numbers aren't dependent on the extent of the map now. They're just the straight sum. Other questions?
Adam, at the beginning of the meeting, Rodney had mentioned that you had some other educational resources online. Where can I find those?
Sure. Yeah.
If you go up to the chat, at the top of the chat, there's a link. I can post it again, though. Wait 1 second. Well, what I was talking about specifically was about today and the activities today, but I can post a link to the resources as well. So if you give me a minute, I will post those as well. This is simply blurb about today, but I will get that posting as well.
I just posted also in the chat box. You'll see www.opengeography.org. That is also some of those resources I have. So like they're Creative Commons OER kind of thing. Open Geography.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so then I have textbooks I've been writing, and you're welcome to use them. Like I have this physical geography, natural disasters textbook that's like openly licensed, and so there's those resources so here's a physical geography, natural disasters textbook. So
That looks great.
thank you. Any other questions?
Also, I am posting not only information about the workshops and webinars that we host, but also resources under the education tab where we have model courses as well as concept modules. So there's a number of resources there that are for primarily educators, but anyone that they can use and make use of for instruction or education or really what have you. So those are some of the links. Of course, everything can be accessed off of geotechcenter.org.
Got those.
Here's another resource with the COVID stuff from ESRI. This guy here, he's the chief cartographer, and he's got a whole bunch of resources here that you could add to your ArcGIS Online map. So one of the layers I have, the polygon layer, I believe it's this one here. Has, you know, no, that's just not the one I was using. But anyway, if you use that link as well, I'll put it in the chat box. You can create even more layers of data in the in your maps. So let me throw that in there. The link to that. That's going to give you maybe just look him up. Because when I do the copy paste, it wants to take you to it wants to add my org account as well. That's weird. So
We see your dashboard, not the browser.
oh, I see. Okay. Hold on.
For those of you who have been working on dashboards, is there anything you'd like to talk to Adam about? Maybe share some experiences or whatnot. I know a number of the people who are in this presentation haven't really used dashboards before, and they might benefit from some discussion regarding likes, dislikes, strengths, weaknesses, etc. as well.
So here's the link. Hopefully you can see him now, the chief cartographer. Yes, right. So he's got these layers here that you can add as well to your own maps. So I mean, so and to me, when I was playing with dashboard, I mean, I use dashboard. You know, it gives a nice look and feel to stuff, but honestly, from an educator perspective, I find still I stick with ArcGIS Online for the most part with my students. I think because the dashboard to me is great in terms of like, here's a product and I want you to focus in on this product, but to me it doesn't allow for your students to explore. So like when I was kind of preparing for this quick demo on dashboard, I went down that rabbit hole, right, of where I was like, well, I got this question. Well, what about this question? Well, now I'm wondering about this, and I'm wondering about that, and just started finding all these, all these layers that was asking me more and more questions. And I thought even like just looking at this map, I thought was just fascinating in itself. This came from that cartographer from ESRI, but just looking at active cases per 100,000, I thought this was kind of interesting the way it looked, because I think Ronnie and I, we were all, and Michael, we were talking about this to some extent before everyone started popping into the Zoom about how, the numbers are so high right now in the Midwest. Right.
Yeah.
And so when you turn on, let's say active or total cases in relation to that, to me, what it's kind of, I think what we're seeing is we're kind of seeing how, the movement of COVID is actually seems to be heading here to me. And we had a conversation again before it started of just, what does that mean? How big cities are taking care of COVID versus smaller cities. So in Utah, for example, we're one of those on the edge here that's I would consider part of this new wave I just checked our website, and Utah just had 3,000 more cases today. And we had 5,000 cases on Saturday. And the response that our governor in our state is doing regarding COVID has been relatively weak, versus where my brother lives in San Francisco, or my dad lives in Atlanta. And so we have sheriffs, so we have this huge outbreak going on in Utah. We're one of the biggest outbreaks right now in the country. And we have sheriffs in the rural parts of Utah not following the governor mandates openly, saying they're not. And so our response to this is going to, it just is, it's getting worse in Utah because of that lack of, we're almost like wild west kind of independent. You can't tell me what to do. So anyway, but that, the data here is coming from this trends. This is the original. And again, this is from that cartographer from ESRI, but there's just a whole bunch of data in here that, you can create total cases, active death, active cases per 100,000, spike slopes. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff here that you can then put into your dashboard. So to me, dashboard is fun because you can make a product that kind of is like, okay, we're gonna look at this topic at hand, but it doesn't allow you to then add more layers in the dashboard. The dashboard, you're pretty locked. Right? This is like a complete product, and that can be great when you're trying to share information because it's still updating live. This every 60 minutes, but it doesn't. You're using existing maps. So one thing that is nice though, if I were to, I'm going to try something here. If I have this map now, and I'm going to save it. Okay, so what I did was I took all the circles out, right? Turn off all those layers. If I go to my dashboard now, I'll save and refresh. My assumption is, see, the circles are not there now. So they are talking to each other. The two maps are talking to each other. And you can create a dashboard that, you're kind of locked in on, but you can, do a lot of things on ArcGIS Online with your students, and it's still going to push it over to the dashboard. You don't have to create a new dashboard if you change your map. It's going to talk to each other the whole time. So I think that's a thing that, that's a positive thing to look at in that way. The main guts of the work you're going to do is going to be in ArcGIS Online. Dashboard is more like your PowerPoint presentation of it. So does anyone got any other questions? There's a lot of, if you go to the ESRI website, there's a lot of activities and resources on dashboards. So when you go to like training, right, and you just type in there, you're gonna pull up all sorts of different dashboard stuff. Like here's a 5-course sequence. You could do with dashboards. Introduction to dashboards, authoring them, interactive dashboards, strategy. Like you can go through all this, and they're really not that long, as you can see here. And so you can go do a deep dive and really, really get pretty good at dashboard. Because dashboard itself is really just kind of plug and play. It's more about just trying to understand what it's asking, in the question, what you're selecting. So it's relatively straightforward, but you can really go a deep dive into it. And I would like to even then, one thing I have not done and I would like to do is see if how this could be applied to like insights.
Adam, Elaine asked, can you compare hub airports to COVID-19 density? Maybe she can expand upon that question.
Like maybe in international airports, or I don't know, the frequency of planes, and I know there's a difference between people planes and cargo planes. But I noticed in Michigan, like out near Grand Rapids, which is an international airport since President Ford was from there seems to be kind of a high density out there. And then in Lower California and Texas, and I just wondered if you could turn on, well, I guess could you turn on international airports?
It's always about if the data exists, right? So I don't know if Living Atlas would be best.
That'd be where I'd start looking first.
So I don't see it there, but maybe just straight or just online.
I was gonna say you can probably just add an airport feature and then filter it by international capabilities.
That's true too. That's true too. Since I have it here, I'm just gonna throw this on and see if. Okay, and then you'll have to play with it. It looks like. Anyway, because we're running out of time, but I think you could. You could go in here. Frequency. You could play around, and you can have your students look into that. So just because there's only 2 minutes left, I'm not going to go do a lot of changing of symbology yet. But yeah, there's definitely data there for it.
And I was gonna say as a note, for dashboards, my main use of them is like for. I work as an intern for the county, and we use them for public input polls and stuff like that to show data and comments on questionnaires we have put out there. And it's really good at displaying data that's automatically updated.
Thanks, Hal.
Right, exactly.
So everyone, I'm putting Adam's email address there in the chat window in case you have any follow-up questions or just want to talk about dashboards and their uses, etc. So as we're getting toward the end of the session, I wanted to again solicit for any additional questions and see if you guys want to go over that. Also, thank you for attending this session. I know dashboards are a great way to communicate information and are becoming more and more popular within the geospatial world. So, Adam, any final comments?
No. Dashboards are fun unless they freeze up on you on a live presentation. Because I'll admit I got a little skittish because I was like, oh, I was going to show you this and this and this, and I was like, I don't want it to keep crashing on me. So, yeah. Anyway, but yeah, please feel free to contact me on anything. Dashboards I'm kind of a newbie to it as well. I'm just getting used to playing with that. So definitely, any questions you have, I'd be grateful for, because I will then go and research myself if I don't know the answer to it, and I will learn more. But all the handouts I put at the very top, people who came in late, if you scroll back towards the top, I gave you 4 or 5 links to activities that you can do or that you can have your students do to create dashboards or how to make your maps look better. There's one of them that I gave you is called Improve Your COVID-19 Case Map. It's it really does a great example of symbology and how to make sure that you can create maps that really emphasize, the magnitude, so to speak, of the COVID cases, and have that's tell its own story. So anyway, so check those out. They're at the very top of the chat box.
Yeah, Adam, I posted them back down in the bottom of the chat box so everyone can see them and access them at their leisure.
Great.
I also want to remind everyone of the resources that you can find at the Geotech Center website. We have, as I said before, model courses, concept modules, webinars, workshops. We do regional workshops on specific topics around the country, as well as annually we do GeoEd conference in Louisville, Kentucky. So thank you again for attending, and take care.